This is behind the scenes. Welcome to Haugen Racing, guys. Today we're talking all about countersteer, which is, I mean, the basis of drifting in a lot of ways. If you can't countersteer, you really can't drift. You're just gonna spin out. So, first of all, let's go over regular steering, which we should all know how to do if we know how to drive a car. If you want to turn left, you're gonna turn the steering wheel to the left, the car's gonna go that way, and now you're steering in that turn and guiding the car where you want it. Same as right. Countersteer, because we're not drifting, let's say we do a clutch kick initiation. For this instance, we'll say we're going around a corner, we're on throttle, and we actually push in the clutch and let it out while we're on throttle, and that disrupts the drivetrain and kicks the back end out. So we're turning left, we clutch kick, and now the back end goes out. If we stay like this, even though we're turning left, if we keep steering left, we're just gonna spin out. So when you clutch kick and you initiate the drift, you're actually gonna let go of the steering wheel. Now, you don't wanna have your hands way off like here. Ideally, you kind of let it slide through your hands. That's kind of why I like to wear gloves. You don't have to wear gloves, but I like how you can slow it down in a way by kind of pressing on it, and it just feels nice. But anyways, when you let it countersteer, you have to let go of the steering wheel. There's this thing called self-steer. I'm not an expert on it by any means, but it's basically the act of the car steering itself and turning itself to kind of fall into the turn. So if you're going left, you clutch kick, the wheels want to fall the other way if you let go of the steering wheel. And so that's basically self-steer in a nutshell. And so you want to allow it to do that. And the way you do that is you let go of the steering wheel, let it slide through your hands. And now we're still going left, but our car is drifting. And so in a way, now we're steering to the right. So it's kind of like backwards. Countersteer, right? Counter. That's where the countersteer comes from. When we transfer drifts, we again let go of the steering wheel. And now if we were going to the left, now we're gonna drift to the right, but our steering wheel is gonna spin this way, again because of the self-steer. We'll catch it, and now we're steering, kind of turning to the left. And so I think kind of the best way to start learning countersteer is with donuts. And so we teach this exercise a lot, and it kind of expands to figure eights, and then you can take it onto the track. But I like just starting with donuts, just kind of going faster and faster, and maybe do a little clutch kick or power over if you have enough power, and kind of letting the car float out and feeling where it's like, okay, I'm steering to the right, but now the car wants to go this way and now steer to the left. And you get that feeling of kind of letting go of the steering wheel, letting it slide through your hands, catching it, and now you're doing a right-hand donut, but you're steering to the left. And so you can kind of stay in that donut and kind of get a feel for that countersteer. To kind of really get the idea of transferring from one corner to the other and the way the countersteer is gonna kind of work and training your brain, do figure eights. So do like one donut, come out of the donut, and then let off the throttle, let the car transition, let go of the steering wheel, let it transition around, catch it, get back on throttle, and then steer again. And just kind of keep doing that back and forth, and you'll get a really good feeling for kind of how the countersteer works. And one kind of little pro tip, I guess, if you will, don't white knuckle the steering wheel. If we've already learned how to let go of it and let it float through our hands, that's great, but we may still be really gripping on it when we're in drift. Keep a relaxed hold on it. You want to be in control, but you don't want to be like freaking gripped up like you're at the gym or something. We're not trying to break the steering wheel. We're gonna start with donuts. And so we're just gonna do some circles, throttle down or clutch kick, whatever we have to do to initiate it. And then rather than maintaining that right-hand turn or left-hand turn, whichever one you're in, we're gonna kind of let go of the steering wheel, and it should kind of slowly float through our hands. Catch it again, get back on throttle. You actually catch the car with the steering wheel and the throttle kind of together. And then we're just gonna maintain that drift and just kind of get that feeling of steering the opposite way. So I'd try it both ways, go right-hand turns and left-hand turns. Once you feel like you kind of have that down and you're like, okay, I got a good handle on letting it flow through my hands, catching it, I'm not white knuckling it, I'm not one hand steering or steering like, you know, all weird, then let's take it to figure eights. So for figure eights, we don't have any cones. If you don't have cones, not a big deal. I'm not super worried right now about doing like perfect circles. I just want you guys to figure out the actual countersteer thing. Don't worry about if you're doing like squares or ovals or grapes, or I guess grapes are circles, but
grapes are kind of,
they're pretty circular.
they're oblong.
More of an orb. Start with your donuts, whatever side you're more comfortable on. Maybe start there, maybe do 1 or 2, and then you're gonna kind of come out of it, shallow up angle, let off throttle, let the car transition over, go back into the other turn, and do it again. And I would actually do like a donut, into a figure 8, do another donut, and then figure it back around. Once you feel like you have that really under control, now it's time to take it to the track. This course is fairly fast and a little bit crazy for learning how to do it, but I want to show you guys the example. And the nice thing is, because this track is so big, everything I'm going to be doing is going to be at like a slower rate than like a tighter, more technical track. So you should be able to really see kind of how I'm letting the wheel go, slide through my hands, transfer, do my countersteering. And the interesting thing is, once you're in drift, you're really countersteering the whole time. If you're not countersteering, then you're understeering. Understeer is when the front's sliding and the rear has grip, and that's not good. You don't want to do that, and then you're not drifting. So
if you're understeering, you're in the dirt.
Yeah, if you're understeering, you're off track, or you're hitting something, and you're not having yourself a good day. Guys, I mean, that is pretty much countersteering in a nutshell. This is something that you'll practice, you'll fine tune, unfortunately, for the rest of your career. So don't stress out if you're not perfect at it right away. I'm sure as hell not. I doubt anyone thinks they're perfect at countersteering. It's something that you really learn as you progress, and you continually find, you know, kind of more fine-tuned, better ways to do it. So just keep practicing it. Remember, the same stuff applies to sim drifting. You may have to throw it if you don't have really good force feedback, but the idea is still the same. But guys, I hope this helps. If you guys have any other concepts or things you want us to go over, drop them in the comments below, and please hit that subscribe button. We'd really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys in a couple days. Thanks guys for hanging out with us. Peace. Action.
Action!